Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Like I've mentioned, I'm just finishing up my time with my US Internats team, and I'll be switching to a new team by the start of, or I guess in 2 days. So yeah, I've already got some of it in-game, but if you have any suggestions or comments on what you would like to potentially see, definitely let me know. I'm still trying to figure out, like, the last Pokemon or two, so I'm really open to trying out anything, especially because it is the beginning of the Battle Spot season, so we're still lower on the ratings, as I've mentioned. But yeah, should be a fun time, like I mentioned as well. The next couple of weeks, I am busy kind of either, one, preparing for Worlds, and two, finishing out my internship. But we're going to find Rai from Brazil with a rating of 1703 using a QR code team, and it's definitely a tricky team. But still want to be able to provide content on a little bit more regular basis. And as always, thank you guys who do come out and watch the videos that I do put out there. Also, if you're interested in a multi-battle between myself, Baz Anderson, Wolf Glick, and Marcus Statter, the battle for week 6, supposed to be week 6 of the MBL, went up earlier today, so you can go check that out. Link that in the description below. It's a really fun one. So, Rai here has a team of Araquanid, Porygon 2, Tapu Koko, Tapu Lele, Kartana, and Garchomp. So, this feels like definitely Drifloon and Tapu Lele, where I can Tailwind and Taunt to make sure I outspeed everything. Not bringing Garchomp seems like a mistake. Like, Garchomp's just so good against pretty much the entirety of the team, other than maybe the Araquanid. And Araquanid is a concern, so I could really decide between either Kartana or my own Arcanine. Kartana does hit Porygon 2 a little bit harder, and it resists Araquanid, and I think that is enough of a reason to bring it. So I'm going to go with my typical floor. Like, I probably bring these four Pokemon the most, just in general, but I feel like it's relatively solid here. And my opponent's team is pretty scary, though, because there's the potential Trick Room option, obviously, with Porygon and Araquanid. The Tapu Koko's there. I'm hoping that by having Marowak on Team Preview, my opponent will be dissuaded from bringing Tapu Koko, but we'll see. That could cause me some problems. Anyway, we're going to get into the first game of today's episode. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Let's see what our opponent brings out. It's going to be Tapu Lele and Kartana. Okay. So this is interesting. And it's definitely pretty scary as well. Like, the safest play really for me is to just Tailwind and Protect. You've got to wonder if my opponent wants to capitalize off that and double up into my Drifloon. Yeah, I'm definitely going to Tailwind, and I'm going to... Do I want to make the read and attack with Tapu Lele? I really do. But maybe it's not worth it. I don't know, like, if I just lose Drifloon, I guess that's not the end of the world, but if it's Sash Tana, that could actually cause me major issues. I'm going to actually attack with Tapu Lele, as weird as that seems. Because I feel like you expect... Oh, Kartana switches out. Even better. Nice! Maybe trying to take a Will-O-Wisp because, of course, Araquanid can take Will-O-Wisp with its ability. Water Bubble. That is perfect. Okay, so it's actually Z-Crystal Tapu Lele as well. So that's the Psychic Z move coming out from Tapu Lele. That is probably going to target down my Drifloon, and I think it knocks it out in one hit. Unless my opponent target down Tapu Lele, but that seems like a pretty weird play. And that would have knocked me out anyway, so I'm not really too worried about that. So yep, there's a Shattered Psyche. It does target down Drifloon, and me not protecting Tapu Lele does end up paying off. I know it's a little bit risky, but I decided to just go for it. That's a big knockout there, though. I thought, like, because Drifloon's actually really good against my opponent's entire team. But I do get the Psychic, fortunately, onto the Araquanid. It doesn't pick up the knockout, but it does definitely enough. Or another one will pick up a knockout. So, I can decide between Kartana and Garchomp, and I think I like Garchomp a little bit more here. Yeah, I'll bring Garchomp. So, Araquanid, obviously decently bulky enough to take that Psychic. So, let's see. You gotta wonder if my opponent's last one actually is that Arcanine, because if it is, it could switch into Tapu Lele right now. So, I mean, I could Psychic Swords Dance. I could Psychic Tectonic Rage. I think I will just Tectonic Rage, because it still will do damage through Protect. And I want to just utilize my turns to Tailwind right now. The reason why I didn't bring Kartana in is I feared Arcanine coming in. Though I suppose maybe I should have brought in Kartana. That would have made more sense. Yeah, we'll see. I know there's obviously a Kartana in the back, but I've got the Sash on my own Kartana, and wow, neither Pokemon switch out or protect. That is shocking. I feel like maybe my opponent was hoping I'd overextend and go for a Swords Dance, but Tectonic Rage will definitely knock out a Tapu Lele, given that it had the Psychic Z Crystal, so even if it has like max HP, Tectonic Rage will still pick up the knockdown, so Psychic will knock out my opponent's Araquanid as well. And that means I have 2 turns of Tailwind to take advantage of after this turn instead of just 1, which is such a big deal. So yeah, I didn't want to go for a Swords Dance that seemed a bit extra, because I know my opponent's options right now are to just protect your switch out, and Tectonic Rage is guaranteed free damage, which is pretty important when you have Tailwind up. So I do pick up the double knockout. And let's see what comes out. Either way, pretty good positioning. Like, this game has played out exactly... I couldn't have asked it to play any better, I guess, other than Tapu Lele not knocking out my Drifblim in turn 1. It's actually Porygon coming in. Okay. So, that's scary, but that's okay, because I can just taunt it. Yeah, so I don't want Trick Room going up at all right now. Down 1 will come up. I think it was special attack, right? No, it was attack. Whoops, my bad. Oops. Don't want to... Yeah, Ice Beam shouldn't knock me out, so I can take one. So I'll just Fire Fang and taunt in case my opponent tries to Trick Room and protect. No protect, and I don't miss Fire Fang. Very nice. Nice. Actually just knocks out Kartana. Gotta wonder, maybe it's Sash Tana then, or Z-Move. Either way, that should secure up the game for me, regardless of what Porygon does. So, pretty fast and straightforward game, but I did have to make some kind of risky plays. But I felt like, I don't know, given the circumstances, they made sense. And yeah, I do survive the Ice Beam, just with a sliver of HP. So now there's no reason to just click Swords Dance and Psychic. I guess I could protect as well, but, yeah, Swords Dance just covers every option. You probably go for the knockout on a Garchomp, but Psychic plus another Psychic plus Kartana in the back will knock out the Porygon. So, yep, that's pretty much it. Like, had Kartana stayed in turn 1 and attacked, that would have been really scary, but I feel like it's just so risky if you target down my Tapu Lele. Like, even though that play seems really risky on my end, like, you lose so much momentum if you just target down, and we actually do see the target into Tapu Lele instead of Garchomp, maybe expecting a protect. So I'll just Earthquake and protect now. But what I wanted to say was, yeah, like, even though, I mean, that turn 1 play is risky, like, but I think if you just look at it from my opponent's perspective, it's really bad for you if you target down into the Tapu Lele and I protect, because then I have Tailwind and I have full pressure going into turn 2. So I guess my opponent wanted to make some compromise by switching out into Araquanid, but yeah, fortunately I Psychic that slot, just picking up the clean knockout, and that was just so big. So EQ does knock out Porygon, and we do end up with the win here. If Kartana had Focus Sash, I guess that could have been a little bit scarier, but I'm trying to think. Like, let's say Kartana did have Sash and Smart Strike, then Ice Beam brings Garchomp down to very low. I bring you down to Focus Sash, your Kartana knocks out my Tapu Lele, and I bring in my Kartana. So then the next turn, I think it basically comes down to a Kartana speed tie. I mean, you definitely protect Kartana. So then I would probably just Sacred Sword, the Porygon, and Swords Dance. Yeah, and then it would come down to potentially Kartana speed tie. So I don't know what item the Kartana had there. I'm thinking maybe actually Scarf. Because Araquanid wants to have the Z-Move most of the time, but I guess we won't find out unless we play our opponent again. But we do end up with a win for our first game of today's episode, and we're just going to look for our second one. To reiterate, if you have any interesting Pokemon sets, team strategies that you'd like to see me use for next week, definitely let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested, or if you don't follow the Multi-Battle League, it's a league where we basically play multi-battles, and I'm partnered up with my, as we find Osiris. That's so funny, actually, because Osiris is part of the MBL. That's exciting. I mean, he said he was from Australia, so I don't know if that's actually him, but yeah, I've said this, the Osiris that I know is called Lee. He got top 8 at Worlds in 2014. Just all-around incredible guy. Was definitely one of the older school players, and yeah, I don't know if this is the Osiris that I'm talking about, but if you guys want more YouTube content and VGC content, go check out the Osiris I'm talking about. I'll link his YouTube channel in the description below. It is criminally underrated, and he's with Hibiki for the Multi-Battle League. So, Porygon, Snorlax, Tapu Lele, Garchomp, Arcanine, and Celesteela. I do feel like these, like, I can see why people want me to use different stuff, because it seems like we're facing against a lot of similar Pokemon and whatnot. So, hopefully my next team will be both creative and kind of good, because it is tough to use like more obscure Pokemon in a good way without thinking about it a lot. So I think I'll just go Tapu Lele Drifblim here again. Don't see much reason not to. Garchomp is definitely a must. And Kartana, Marowak, Arcanine. They all could be decent here. Easiest answer would be Kartana. Marowak offensively actually is kind of tempting here, though. Really is. That's tricky. I'm gonna bring Kartana, unfortunately. Like, I'd love to bring Marowak, and I know some games on Road to Rank recently I've been like, oh, I don't feature Marowak, so let me just bring it. But I don't know. It's, like, okay in this matchup, but it, first of all, is faster than normal, so it doesn't have as much bulk. There's a Garchomp and an Arcanine on my opponent's side. Garchomp obviously not as big of a concern. Arcanine for Intimidate's really what I'm worried about. We do just see Lele Arcanine from my opponent's side. Okay, I'll take that. I mean, this is a free Tailwind. Once again, the question is, like, does Lele get targeted? Because this time around, I might actually Protect. Like, that might be a better play. But the thing is, I kind of want to just go for a Psychic, because even if Tapu Lele gets knocked out, I just get a free switch into my Garchomp, and that's good. So, yeah, I think I will just Tailwind here. And straight up Psychic the Arcanine. I shouldn't lose both of my Pokemon unless it's Banded Arcanine and Z-move Tapu Lele. And Arcanine switches out, which is great for me. Nice. Into Celesteela. So that's a great switch. Yesterday, like, I underestimated Celesteela's Heavy Slam ability against Tapu Lele, so I won't make that mistake again. But right now, like, Tapu Lele plus Drifloon does pretty well against the 3 Pokemon my opponent revealed. And what do you know? It actually is another Z-move Tapu Lele. Wow. Wow. What are the chances we play 2 in a row? Not that, like, that's crazy, but I feel like Life Orb and Specs have become more common. Don't get me wrong, like, I think Z-move, like, Tapu Lele Z-move is one of the strongest Z-moves, and probably the strongest when you do have your terrain up. Yeah, I'm just surprised to see, like, 2 back-to-back. So nice play by my opponent there. Definitely switches in. It's going to eat up the Psychic decently well. Now has Intimidate pressure with that Arcanine sitting in the back as well. So, yeah. Unfortunate, like, Z-move Tapu Lele is the one thing that can really give my Drifloon problems, because even if I survive 1 turn, I get a Shadow Ball off, which does so much to Tapu Lele. But no worries. Okay, I think I have to bring in Garchomp now, but this is kind of similar to the last game, like the predicament of, oh, do I Swords Dance or do I Tectonic Rage? This time around, maybe Marowak actually would have been good. It would have been really good against all the Pokemon we've seen so far. I could also, like, I don't want to Fire Fang here. So actually the fear is that Tapu Lele protects and then Celesteela just Heavy Slams. So if I'm my opponent, I probably attack with both of my... I would attack with both Pokemon, I think. So maybe I actually need to play conservatively and Tectonic Rage Tapu Lele. Okay, Tech Rage and switching out to Kartana is the safest play. It's just like... I really could Swords Dance here. But then I lose if Tapu Lele just targets down Garchomp. So I think I need to play safe this turn, unfortunately. If it were best of 3, maybe I'd play more aggressively. But I'm trying to get the W here. Okay, nice. Tapu Lele doesn't protect. Perfect. So that's nice. At least I knock out the biggest immediate threat to my Garchomp. My Garchomp will be able to beat the Arcanine and the Celesteela. But still, like, turn 1, not as great as I would have wanted to. And I probably lose my Kartana's Focus Sash here. So... yeah, knowing when to Swords Dance with this Garchomp is really important, and I will typically avoid it unless it's like a guaranteed free Swords Dance. Like both games, had I Swords Dance in front of Lele, I would have just been screwed. So those weren't risks that I thought were worth taking. And yeah, we do just see a Heavy Slam come out onto the Kartana side. Okay, so that was pretty much the best scenario given the circumstances, but I'm still not exactly in an incredible position because now Arcanine can come in and go for a Intimidate. And I presume it will be Arcanine coming in. And that's pretty bad. Yep. Shouldn't be a surprise to see that. But that's still really tricky just because you can Flare Blitz and Heavy Slam double up into my Kartana slot. I mean, this is finally an opportunity to actually go for the Swords Dance that I've been talking about, though, so I think I will Swords Dance. My fear is that the Arcanine has Will-O-Wisp. It very likely could. Maybe I could just Sacred Sword and Earthquake, actually. I mean, I am at -1, though. And there are 2 turns of Tailwind. You know, that's honestly kind of tempting. But what are the chances it has Will-O-Wisp? I feel like decently high. But I'm going to Swords Dance and Detect. I feel like it does. Yeah, I'm gonna get Will-O-Wisp here. Maybe I should have doubled up on Arcanine. Okay, so I get the SD off, but if Arcanine is Will-O-Wisp, then it all goes to Vayne. Doesn't have it. He actually had it, but I do avoid. Oh, that's so fortunate for me. And the Heavy Slam goes with the Kartana. Ah! So I got lucky with the Will-O-Wisp there. My apologies. Like, yeah, maybe I really should have just covered that option. And given that we saw a Heavy Slam, I wonder if... So I could Swords Dance again here. Do I really want to do that? I think what I want to do is actually double up on Celesteela with a Sacred Sword and a Fire Fang to try to get that knockout. Because I think Arcanine switches out here, yeah. Porygon or Snorlax? It's actually Garchomp. Oh, that's pretty scary. Cell protects. It doesn't protect, okay. Does +1 Fire Fang knock out? I'm not sure it does. Woo! Oh, it didn't knock out. I thought I was like, I'm good, but then I missed out the knockout. Yikes. Yikes. Okay. So Beast Boost gives it a Special Defense boost, okay. So, obviously I've got Fire Fang now and Celesteela's in KO range. Garchomp is also in KO range from a Moonblast. But Tailwind is petered out, so this is going to be a close finish. I do feel like if my opponent just hit the Will-O-Wisp there, though, I'd probably lose the game. So, hey, this is not a game that I feel like I really deserved. I guess I really should have covered the Sacred Sword, or the Will-O-Wisp option with Sacred Sword and Earthquake. Like, I don't know, it's a pretty common move on Arcanine, but it's not, like, something I'd expect all the time. I don't know, but I guess given that I was talking about it, that was a play I considered. And if my opponent, I don't know, it's one of those where it's like, if your opponent does have it, then you need to cover it. If your opponent doesn't have it and you overly cover for it, like, Arcanine could have just protected. I guess I could have gotten Flamethrowered, but I'll reflect on the game later, on that play specifically, because it's probably the biggest play of the game. So now Garchomp's out. It can't Tectonic Rage, because we've already seen a Z move. Yeah, I guess I have to cover this out. Like, Fire Fang Moonblast is way too obvious here. It's likely Arcanine maybe switches in. Wow. Neither Pokemon protect or switch out. Okay, well, if Garchomp doesn't have a way to knock out Tapu Lele, oh, it might be Assault Vested. It probably is Assault Vested. But I can take an two EQs. Yeah, easily. From Garchomp, at least. I'm gonna guess that is AV Garchomp, though. Like, that's the only thing that would make sense. Yes. That's what I thought. Okay, that makes sense. Like, you know it's probably not Z-Mood because the Tapu Lele had the Z move. So, yeah, Moonblast almost knocks out Garchomp still. Arcanine comes in, but now I've got neutral Earthquake. And because it is AV Garchomp, you can't go for... Oh, actually a Dragon Claw might just knock me out. I didn't even consider that. Maybe my opponent just wins. I don't know if Dragon Claw knocks me out. It really is just going to come to that, huh? Yeah, because if you're a Assault Vest, you just Dragon Claw Flare Blitz. You can see how losing Drifloon was bad for me. And even though I got Fortune, I feel like my opponent just maintained the board positioning a little bit better. Obviously, if I got the knockout there onto the Celesteela, that would have been quite nice, but just missed it. And the Garchomp did outspeed me earlier. This is tricky. I feel like you might double in a Garchomp here. Yeah, it comes down to... Oh, I protected. I'm not sure I agree with that play. So I'm protecting Garchomp because I think my opponent might try to E-Speed and Dragon Claw, but I feel like that's too risky. You have to cover the Tapu Lele option. Oh, we just saw the Poison Jab. Does it not have Dragon Claw then? Because if it doesn't, then I just win. Otherwise, I feel like you definitely Dragon Claw and Flare Blitz. But maybe my opponent thought Lele was faster than it was. Because I could have just EQ'd there. Oh boy. Maybe it doesn't have... maybe it doesn't have Dragon Claw then. It could be like Poison Jab, Rock Slide, Earthquake, Fire Fang. And if it does have Dragon Claw, then you just E-Speed Dragon Claw here. Although, I don't know if Arcanine has Extreme Speed either. Oh, it doesn't have Dragon Claw. Yeah, it's going for Fire Fang. Does it burn me? Rough Skin doesn't knock it out. No burn, and I get the Earthquake off. And we don't see an Extreme Speed from Arcanine. I'm guessing it's going to go for a Will-O-Wisp. EQ shouldn't knock out Arcanine here, and it's going to proc the Berry, yeah. Yeah, so I protected expecting Extreme Speed Dragon Claw, but I think I still win here. You Will-O-Wisp. Yeah. Ooh, we'll be close, actually, because I'm not sure another EQ knocks out Arcanine. Yikes. Although it is single target now, yeah. So I still go for it. I'm not going to Swords Dance or anything, because, like, I would see SD or EQ. I guess the Swords Dance would cover Arcanine protecting. I don't know. It'll be close. It will definitely be close here. But not a game I really feel too happy about either way. I feel like my opponent played a little bit better than me. Obviously, I got caught off guard by the double Z move, but that was just like great turn 1 play, like targeting down my Drifloon, switching in Celesteela for free. By not bringing Arcanine or my Marowak, I had less pressure on the Celesteela slot specifically, which was pretty bad. Marowak actually ended up, based on how the game went, it turns out like Marowak actually could have been a decent call, but I do feel like this is a game that I should lose. Like, I give my opponent full credit, and the only reason I got bailed out was because of that miss. So Arcanine does protect, so I could have Swords Dance there. Okay. But I feel like if I Swords Dance and Arcanine Flare Blitzes me with Burn and Extreme Speed, I might just lose. So, I don't know. That's risky. I actually don't know this calculation on Arcanine as well, at all. Doesn't go for a double, makes sense, you don't want to. You want to try to see if you can survive the Earthquake. And it doesn't survive. Nice. Okay, cool. So, we do end up with 2 wins in this one, but I don't know. The first game felt pretty clean, this one definitely not. Once again, I think if my opponent hits the Will-O-Wisp, I just win the game there, but I don't know. I was kind of playing the odds there where it was like, okay, first of all, he needs Will-O-Wisp. If he doesn't have Will-O-Wisp, then I'm in a super good position, and this play makes sense. Even if he has it, he still needs to hit it. But, I don't know, like, if I just Sacred Sworded and Earthquake there, I would knock out the Arcanine. But I wouldn't get the Swords Dance off. But I suppose my opponent's Garchomp had no way to hit my Tapu Lele. Yeah, I think the only way I probably win that game is if Will-O-Wisp misses. And that's just me. Like, Psychic Z Crystal is really hard. Normally because with Drifloon and Tapu Lele, Drifloon is such an important asset, especially against teams like those, where you can Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp Celesteela, Will-O-Wisp Garchomp, you know, get chip damage off. So, I guess, like, looking at errors I made in the game, I'm, like, overall content with how I played, but I feel like matchup-wise, because my opponent had the Z Crystal, I had to maybe get a little bit lucky, since I don't think there were, like, opportunities where I could have significantly outplayed my opponent. Like, even if I do double up on Arcanine there, he just gets the free switch into Garchomp, and then that's pretty bad for me. I guess the way I win that is by protecting my Garchomp well enough, but I don't know. That could have been scary. Either way, like, I feel like my opponent just played better and had some better tools than I did to win the game, but, I mean, Pokemon's Pokemon, right? You make the most out of your situation and your circumstances, and in a best of 3, I would definitely be like, okay, now I know the Arcanine has the Z move. But other adjustments I could have, or other things I could have done, I could have brought in the Marowak or the Arcanine. Both actually would have been pretty decent calls, specifically because of their matchup against Celesteela. Like, it's nuts. You'll see players still bring in Celesteela despite me having 2 Fire-type Pokemon, and I think that's just a testament to how good Celesteela as a Pokemon is, and how you can really protect it accordingly. But really, really good game to Osiris there. Once again, if that is the Osiris I think it was, you can go check him out, linked in the description below. Sorry about the miss there. I think I definitely lose that game otherwise, and I don't know, I think there's some Pokemon games where it's like, for the most, I don't know, there may be 1 or 2 better plays I could have made, obviously, targeting the Arcanine, but sometimes the matchup is tricky enough where you play Team Preview, not incorrectly, but afterwards you see, like, how much difference bringing a Pokemon could make. So, like, yeah, I don't know, I feel like having Arcanine there changes the matchups a little bit. I don't know, it puts it a little bit more in my favor, but that's only with the 4 Pokemon my opponent brought specifically. I brought Cortana just because I was really scared of Porygon and Snorlax, but neither of those actually made an appearance, so the Osiris definitely making the better calls on which Pokemon to bring, and that put me at a disadvantage. So, yep, it's going to be it for this episode. Really well played, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Go check out the MBL match against Wolfie and Marcus if you're interested, linked in the description below. Osiris' channel. Don't know, once again, whether that's him or not, but the actual Osiris, also very great player and underrated YouTuber. Go check him out. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you guys for watching. As always, leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. All right, peace.